Chapter 2569, 2 Level 1 Undying God King Level Abyssal Species, and 1 Eternal God Lord Pinnacle Abyssal Species on the right. Wang Xian scanned the surroundings with his yin-yang 5 elements dragon eyes and saw 3 abyssal species flying towards him. Their green eyes stared at the divine dragon blood in front of them, filled with greed and passion. Close. When they were about 100 kilometers away from the divine dragon blood, Wang Xian made his move. Wang. He clawed his arm and the abyssal species that were flying towards him trembled slightly. Wang Xian grabbed it in his hand. Bam! With a slight movement of his palm, he killed it. Not bad, killing 2 Undying God King level abyssal species with ease. Wang Xian waved his arm and threw the 3 corpses into his spatial ring, his eyes shining brightly. If the divine dragon blood can attract these abyssal species quickly, the Dragon Palace can make use of this to kill them quickly and get their corpses. Wang Xian murmured and decided to fly deeper. The entire abyss was so vast that even the emperors in the imperial court had not fully explored the entire abyss. Moreover, if an emperor entered this place, it would attract the emperor-level abyssal species. After flying for 2 hours, Wang Xian had already stepped into the deepest region of the abyss. With his current strength, he could be considered as an expert in the dazzling starry vast world. After 2 hours of flying at full speed, he had already covered an extremely long distance. When he first entered, he could still see many people. Now, he could no longer see them. Almost there. Wang Xian murmured and immediately set up a concealment array. His body was completely hidden and he placed the divine dragon blood at the side, following which, he waited patiently. Zhi. As time passed, Wang Xian could vaguely hear an ear-piercing sound. They're here. The divine dragon blood is indeed very attractive to these abyssal species. He squinted his eyes and looked ahead. His eyes were filled with joy. Zhi. The ear-piercing sound was getting closer and soon, dozens of black bird-shaped abyssal species with green eyes flew over. There are 10 Undying God King level abyssal species. Great. Another huge harvest. Wang Xian murmured. Suddenly, he felt that hunting the abyss species was too easy. Among the 10 abyss demons, the strongest was only a 3rd order Undying God King. When they entered Wang Xian's attack range, he easily caught them all with a wave of his arm. Very good. With a wave of his arm, he killed it and threw it into the mother nest. Let's continue waiting here. Wang Xian did not leave but continued to hide in the surroundings. This time, after waiting for half an hour, another group of abyssal species appeared. This time, there were more than 100 Undying God King level beasts with a 5th order Undying God King as the leader. This made Wang Xian extremely excited. He had captured so many abyss species in just one day. This harvest was too terrifying. We have to summon the members of the Dragon Palace and use the dragon blood in the dragon transformation pool to attract them. This will allow the strength of the Dragon Palace to increase crazily. He hesitated for a moment and decided to stay in the abyss for a few more days. In the next few days, Wang Xian used the dragon blood to attract the abyss species. The most he attracted was a group of abyss species flying in the void. There were more than 10,000 of them and over 100 Undying God Kings. However, it was a pity that the leader of this group was an 8th order Undying God King. After Wang Xian sensed it, he did not even bother to use the dragon blood and immediately fled. Ha. After escaping from that group of abyss species, Wang Xian heard excited and ear-piercing screams coming from behind. That 8th order Undying God King must have devoured his blood. Phew, over 500 corpses of Undying God King abyss species in half a month. This is a huge harvest. I can definitely summon the members of the Dragon Palace over. This way, the harvest will be even greater, Wang Xian murmured as he flew towards the exit of the abyss. Wang Xian had already investigated the basic situation of the abyss. With the dragon blood as bait, he could definitely summon the members of the Dragon Palace over. After using 6 hours to return to the exit, Wang Xian immediately took out the AI to inform Prime Minister Turtle and the rest. Send the mysterious demon, roving crab, fire hammer race, berserk dragon species over. About 300 Undying God King level members. Bring over 5,000 catties of dragon blood from the dragon transformation pool. Wang Xian instructed Prime Minister Turtle. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle replied immediately. Roving Yarrow, Duan Jinming, Roving Heavens, Roving Chi, each of you bring over 60 underlings. Roving Crab, follow them and head towards Dragon King. Within the Dragon Palace, Prime Minister Turtle immediately called the few leaders over. Also, Roving Yarrow, hide with the other spiky dragon species and don't get discovered. Prime Minister Turtle's eyes flashed as he reminded. Yes. Roving Yarrow nodded slightly. Roving Crab, bring the dragon blood and meet up with Dragon King. Roving Yarrow, Roving Heavens, and the rest nodded and immediately flew out of Dragonstar towards Wang Xian's location. Members of the Dragon Palace have come out. According to the investigation, there are 4 sixth order Undying God Kings and the rest are over 130 Undying God Kings. They should be heading towards the Abyss. Dragon King entered the Abyss half a month ago and there's no trace of him there. They should be meeting up with Dragon King. Not long after Roving Yarrow and the rest came out, news spread secretly to a planet within the 9th grade Heavenly Sect's territory. At this moment, in a huge hall on the planet, over 100 Undying God King experts were sitting there, reading the news. We know that Dragon King and over 100 Dragon Palace disciples have entered the Abyss. Everyone should be aware of the situation there. I feel that this is an opportunity for us. The sect leader of the 3 Seas sect scanned the surroundings and said with flickering eyes, "The Abyss is so huge. It's going to be difficult to find him." The sect leader of the Monster Slayer sect frowned and said softly, "This is a good opportunity. However, the Abyss is too huge. It's going to be extremely difficult to find him. However, if we don't go, the chances will be even slimmer. We can send people over. Even if we can't find the Dragon King, we can focus on killing the Abyss species and distribute them." An expert from the Jianhua group pondered for a moment and said, "However, if we want to make a move, the old ancestors of the 9th grade Heavenly Sect must take action. Otherwise, that Dragon King will be able to annihilate all of us." An expert from the Black Forest group looked at the people from the 9th grade Heavenly Sect. "It's impossible for all of us to go over. However, it's sufficient for one to go over to deal with the Dragon King. The rest of us can eliminate the rest of the subordinates of the Dragon King." The people from the 9th grade Heavenly Sect pondered for a moment and nodded their heads. Chapter 2570. What Wang Xian did not know was that the 9th grade Heavenly Sect and their alliance had also sent their people over. They were just here to try their luck. If they could meet people from Dragon Palace, they would. If not, they would hunt some Abyss demons. However, what the 9th grade Heavenly Sect did not know was that Dragon Palace's Spike Dragon was hidden within. Secondly, Aosir alone could represent the entire race of the Devouring Dragon. Within his body, there were 500 Immortal King Realm experts, including 2 6th Order Immortal King Realm expert. On the surface, Dragon Palace had only sent 140 expert. 5 hours later, Wang Xian saw a group of experts from Dragon Palace rushing towards the entrance of the Abyss. Dragon King. The group of Dragon Palace members greeted him respectfully. Let's go." Wang Xian looked at them and said with a smile, "Yes, Dragon King." The group of Dragon Palace members nodded and followed behind Wang. After entering the Abyss, Wang Xian and the group flew in at a terrifying speed. "Hey! That seems to be the Dragon King from Dragon Palace. I have to say that Dragonstar has risen too fast. Now, it is the most popular planet in our South Star galaxy. It's them. Let's go. Our Tianshan Sword sect has no feud with them." Behind them, a few hundred middle-aged and old men saw the group of Dragon Palace entering the Abyss and discussed softly. A few hundred people also flew into the Abyss. Due to the stability of the South Star galaxy, some experts and forces came to the Abyss to hunt for Abyss demons. If they were lucky, they could hunt hundreds of them, which was equivalent to hundreds of thousands or even millions of years of hard work. If a God King expert wanted to break through, they would need the support of powerful resources. Dragonstar was already powerful enough, but a year's worth of resources on a member of Dragon Palace could only give him the strength of a 6th Order Immortal King. This was also because the members of Dragon Palace had the bloodline of the divine dragon, which made it easy for them to improve. If it was an ordinary person, a year's worth of resources from Dragonstar could help an immortal king advance from first order to second order immortal king. It was extremely difficult for an immortal king to improve without fighting. Of course, there was a price to pay for fighting. Countless experts were buried in the abyss. There was once a powerful faction in the South Star Galaxy, but all of their top experts had fallen in the abyss, and the entire faction had fallen into decline. Did you bring the dragon blood? After flying forward for 10 hours, Wang Xian found a dilapidated abyssal land floating in it. The land was about 1,000 kilometers in circumference, which was not too small. Yes, I have. Roving Crab nodded. You guys will be divided into 3 teams. The center will be about 500 million kilometers apart. Then, place the dragon blood in the void to attract the abyssal species. If you guys can kill the abyssal species on your own, kill them directly. If you can't kill them, and there aren't any 7th order undying god kings and above, take the dragon blood and run towards me. If they are too strong, give up on the dragon blood and run. Wang Xian reminded the members of Dragon Palace. Yes, Dragon King. The group of members nodded and immediately spread out. This time, there were fire gold dragons that had come. All of them had grasped array formations and could completely set up concealment array formations to hide themselves. Only an undying god king 6th order and above would be able to detect them. Encountering such an abyssal species, they did not need to hide and directly fled. Roving Demon, Roving Heavens, and the others were spread out over a radius of 2 billion kilometers. Wang Xian placed the dragon blood on a pond on the land in front of him and waited quietly. Half an hour later, a series of roars came from below. The abyssal species came in all shapes and sizes. They could freely evolve their bodies, which was also the reason why they were so strong. Looking at the few undying god king abyssal species charging towards him, Wang Xian squinted his eyes. Wang. The dragon claw reached out and easily caught them and destroyed them. The dragon blood is so convenient. Wang Xian murmured as he continued to wait. After half an hour without encountering any abyssal species, he immediately changed his position. At other places, the other members of Dragon Palace had also reaped many reward. Wang Xian and the members of Dragon Palace had maintained a relatively close position, using the dragon blood to lure them. The following month was very smooth. They swept through a huge area and killed over hundreds of thousands of abyssal species. Among which, there were over 1,000 undying god kings. Among which, there were 5 6th order undying god kings. Give me 1 to 2 years and Dragon Palace will be able to improve tremendously. These 5 6th order undying god king abyssal species corpses will allow Dragon Palace to produce a 7th order undying god king. Wang Xian murmured as he hid and waited with a smile. Hey, that is. There are so many abyssal species. Elder, look. At the same time, not far away, a group of middle-aged and old men looked ahead with excitement. In front of them, hundreds of abyssal species were flying towards them. Leading them were dozens of undying god king abyssal species, the strongest of which was a 4th order undying god king. Ha ha ha, what great luck. Let's go and capture all these abyssal species. Everyone's faces were filled with excitement. They're here. Everyone, get ready. In front of the hundreds of abyssal species, Roving Heavens stared at the abyssal species flying towards the dragon blood, his eyes gleaming. Wait, Leader Roving, there's a group of people flying towards us. A firegold dragon species looked up and reminded Roving Heavens. Huh. Roving Heavens looked over and squinted his eyes. Mysterious demon, don't show yourself first. The rest of you, kill this group of abyssal species. He swept his gaze across the group, frowned slightly and ordered. Yes. The group of Dragon Palace members nodded their heads. Attack. At this moment, Roving Heavens ordered and a series of terrifying attacks engulfed the hundreds of abyssal species. Rumble. Violent energy engulfed the group of abyssal species instantly. Oh no, Elder, someone is stealing our prey. Above them, the group of people was shocked when they saw the abyssal species they were following being attacked. The other party isn't very strong. Snatch our prey. The leading elder squinted his eyes and stretched out his arm. A huge green palm grabbed towards the abyssal species that was being attacked. Stop, this is the prey that we have lured over. Roving Heavens saw the other party making a move and his eyes turned cold. With a wave of his arm, blood-red chains wrapped around all the abyssal species. Bam, bam, bam. However, the elder wasn't weak either. The green palm collided with the blood-red chains, creating a loud bang. This is the prey that we are chasing, he said coldly. With a sweep of his palm, he grabbed a portion of the abyssal species' corpses. Chapter 2571. Stop. We lured them over. Surround them. Roving Heavens ordered the members of the Dragon Palace as he saw them grabbing a portion of the corpses of the abyss species. Swish, swish, swish. The remaining group of over 60 members of the Dragon Palace surrounded them immediately. Among them, over 20 mysterious demons were hidden in the void. Ha! When the group saw the members of the Dragon Palace surrounding them, their faces turned cold. Clang, clang, clang. Everyone took out their weapons immediately and stared coldly at Roving Heavens and his group. Leave the prey in your hands to us. Roving Heavens stared at them with a murderous look in his eyes. Members of the Dragon Palace? At the back, an old man glanced at Roving Heavens and his group and raised his eyebrows. Dragon Palace? The leading old man squinted his eyes. We chased after the abyss species. You guys attacked them directly. You should hand over the corpses of the abyss species to us. Bullshit. We lured them over with our blood. I'm warning you. Hand over the other corpses immediately. Otherwise, don't blame us for being merciless. Roving Heavens clenched his fists and stared at them coldly. Merciless? PH, do you think the Tianshan sword sect is afraid of you? The leading old man revealed a cold look. I'm warning you guys. You'd better not make an enemy out of the Tianshan sword sect. Otherwise, you'll die if you make too many enemies. I'm only asking you one question. Are you going to hand it over or not? Roving Heavens asked with a violent look. So what if we don't hand it over? Do you think you can keep us here? Hehe, as long as any of our disciples are injured, the Tianshan sword sect will take revenge on you. The old man said with disdain. Boom, boom, boom. Just as the old man finished his sentence, several figures flew towards them with terrifying auras. Ha! The members of the Tianshan sword sect were shocked as they looked to their left and right. Oh no, it's the other experts from the Dragon Palace. A middle-aged man's expression changed. Someone's looking for trouble. At the same time, Wang Xian sensed the signal from Roving Heavens and raised his eyebrows. His body moved and he flew over at a terrifying speed. Wang Xian had reminded Roving Heavens and the rest to inform them immediately if they encountered any enemies. Buzz. Wang Xian was not very far from Roving Heavens and the rest. When he flew over, he immediately saw Roving Heavens and the rest surrounding a group of people. Aosia and the others also led their men over. Oh no. Elder, the Dragon King from the Dragon Palace is here too. Seeing more and more members of the Dragon Palace surrounding them and the Dragon King flying over, the experts of the Tianshan sword sect were shocked. The leading elder's face also revealed an ugly expression. Put away your weapons, he immediately said to the people around him. They were no match for the Dragon King's strength. What happened? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and asked Roving Heavens as he looked at the people who were surrounded. Dragon King, they snatched our prey. Roving Heavens spoke immediately. Lord Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, I'm an elder of the Sky Mountain Sword Sect. We were chasing after a group of abyss demons and were killed by your subordinates. Tell them that the prey belongs to you. The elder of Tianshan Sword Sect cupped his fist at Wang Xian, introduced himself, and spoke plainly. The abyss species were attracted by our blood. Bring out the prey. Upon hearing their words, Wang Xian spoke directly. The people from the Sky Mountain Sword Sect were not weak. They had a 6th-level Immortal King Realm expert. Their prey was instantly killed by Roving Heavens and the rest. Clearly, they were not strong enough. As for the abyss species, they were also attracted by the dragon blood. Dragon King, this is the prey of the Sky Mountain Sword Sect. The elder of the Sky Mountain Sword Sect's face darkened as he emphasized the word Sky Mountain Sword Sect. Clearly, he was trying to intimidate them with his strength. No one can take away the prey of the Dragon Palace, not even the Sky Mountain Sword Sect. Wang Xian looked at them with disdain. Previously, when Wang Xian stepped into the business planet of the Sky Mountain Sword Sect, the other party had rejected him directly. Clearly, they wanted to give face to the Sky Mountain Sword Sect. What a joke. You, the people from the Sky Mountain Sword Sect looked terrible. Here, let's go. The elder of the Sky Mountain Sword Sect gritted his teeth and threw out the corpse of the Abyss species. Roving Heavens immediately took the corpse of the Abyss species. Looking at their backs, Wang Xian hesitated. In the end, he did not choose to make a move. If he made a move, Wang Xian was confident that he could make the other party stay. However, there was no need for that. He would not kill the other party for no reason if there was no feud between them. Damn it. That Dragon King did not give face to the Sky Mountain Sword Sect at all. We saw those Abyss species first. He has no respect for the Sky Mountain Sword Sect at all. An old man from the Sky Mountain Sword Sect, who had flown tens of millions of kilometers away, bellowed with a gloomy face. That's right, Elder. The Dragon Palace is too disrespectful. Let's join forces with the 9th grade Heavenly Sect and annihilate this arrogant guy. Another hot-tempered middle-aged man suggested. All right, cut out these useless words. The elder of the Sky Mountain Sword Sect was also gloomy. He had not expected the Dragon King to look down on them. However, it was impossible to start a war with the Dragon Palace just for a few corpses of the Abyss species. There are hundreds of Abyss species and over a dozen immortal king level ones. We have only harvested a dozen over this period of time and only one immortal king level 1. A few old men beside him grumbled, obviously unwilling to accept this outcome. However, the Dragon Palace was too strong. If they were not strong, they would have dared to attack. Let's go to another place and see if we can hunt some immortal king-level Abyss species. The Sky Mountain Sword Sect Elder said with a gloomy face as he flew towards a direction. Elder, there are people over there. Should we hide? After flying for a short while, they saw a group of more than 300 people not far away. An old man whispered to them. In the abyss, one must be careful when encountering others. Since they could not escape back to the godly nation directly, there were many killings in the abyss. There were even people lying in ambush to steal others' spoils of war. Hey! They seemed to be acquaintances. The Sky Mountain Sword Sect Elder looked over and raised his eyebrows when he saw a few old men. Let's go over. Looking at the group not far away, his eyes flashed as he flew over immediately. The rest of the experts from the Sky Mountain Sword Sect were slightly surprised. As they sized up the group, their eyes slowly lit up. Greetings, Lone Mountain Ancestor of the Rank 9 Heavenly Sect. Greetings, friends from the Rank 9 Heavenly Sect. The Sky Mountain Sword Sect Elder flew over and cupped his fists with a smile. Chapter 2572. When the people from Tianshan Sword Sect flew over, the people from the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect, the Monster Slayer Sect, and the 3 Seas Sect also looked over. What can I do for you? The 9th grade Heavenly Sect's Patriarch swept his gaze over them and asked indifferently. The other party was an existence of the same level, so the 9th grade Heavenly Sect's Patriarch was relatively polite to them. Everyone, I have something to tell them. We met the Dragon King and his group in that direction. The elder of Tianshan Sword Sect pointed at the back and said, Where is the Dragon King of Dragon Palace? Are you sure? Behind him, killing intent flashed in the eyes of the 3 Seas Sect Master as he immediately asked. Yes, we're 100% sure. As for whether or not they've left, we're not sure. The elder of Tianshan Sword Sect nodded heavily. Why are you telling us this? Moreover, we are not here for the Dragon King. The leader of the 3 Seas Sect still wanted to say something, but the Patriarch of the 9th grade Heavenly Sect waved his hand and stopped him. They didn't have a good relationship with the Tianshan Sword Sect, and it was obvious that the Tianshan Sword Sect was plotting something by telling them this information. Grade 9 Heavenly Sect Patriarch, we won't hide anything. Just now, we were chasing a group of abyss demons, but they were robbed by the people of Dragon Palace. Our Tianshan sword sect doesn't have any top experts, so we could only let the Dragon King of Dragon Palace take it, the elder of Tianshan sword faction said. Oh! How dare the Dragon Palace snatch your prey? The 9th grade Heavenly Sect's patriarch raised his eyebrows. They even dare to offend the 9th grade Heaven Sect and everyone here. What else do they not dare to do? The elder of Tianshan sword sect said in a low voice with a dark face. That's true. The old ancestor of the grade 9 Heavenly Sect nodded lightly. We're just informing you. We don't have any other intentions. It's impossible for our 9th grade Heaven Sect to harm you. Farewell. The elder of Tianshan sword sect cupped his fists and left with his men without saying anything else. Ancestor, can their words be trusted? An old man asked as he watched the group from Tianshan sword faction leave. There's no need for them to lie to us. Judging from their expressions, they can't be faked. However, they also want to kill us with a borrowed knife. The 9th grade Heavenly Sect's ancestor said indifferently. I don't care if they are trying to kill us with a borrowed knife. Our main purpose is to hunt down the experts of Dragon Palace. The 3 Seas Sect's sect master spoke without a care in the world. Go. The grade 9 Heavenly Sect's patriarch nodded coldly and flew in the direction the Tianshan sword sect's group had pointed. Elder, will the grade 9 Heavenly Sect go there to hunt down the people from Dragon Palace? After the group from Tianshan sword sect left, a middle-aged man could not help but ask. Haha, what can the people from the grade 9 Heaven Sect, 3 Seas Sect, and Jianhua group do when they mix together? Do you believe that they are not here to kill the Dragon Palace? The elder of Tianshan sword sect smirked and said confidently. Their strength is much stronger than that of the Dragon Palace. If they really went to hunt down the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, the Dragon Palace would definitely suffer heavy losses. A middle-aged man's eyes lit up with excitement. Hee, the Dragon King can only blame himself for being too arrogant. Everyone's eyes shone, and their faces were filled with mockery and schadenfreude. If the members of Dragon Palace are really there, don't let them escape. Kill as many as you can. I'll hold that Dragon King back. On the other side, the Laozu of grade 9 Heavenly Sect ordered the surrounding crowd with flickering eyes. Yes, even if I have to suffer heavy injuries, I'll make the people of Dragon Palace pay a hefty price. The sect leader of 3 Seas Sect suppressed his violent killing intent and bellowed in a low voice. The 3 Seas Sect hated the Dragon Palace the most. Conceal yourselves and be careful. Don't get discovered immediately, a 6th Order Immortal King from grade 9 Heavenly Sect whispered. The group of people flew forward, trying their best to conceal their figures. When they stepped into the area where Roving Heavens and the rest were, the mysterious demons that were hidden in the void immediately turned around and looked ahead. Leader Roving, there's a group of experts coming our way. We can't fight them. A mysterious demon immediately transmitted his voice to Roving Heavens. Someone's coming? Roving Heavens was slightly shocked. Take the dragon blood and escape to the Dragon King immediately. Without any hesitation, he ordered all the members of the Dragon Palace. Yes. The rest did not hesitate and immediately came out of the concealment array and flew towards where Wang Xian was. There's someone ahead. They should be from the Dragon Palace. We've been discovered. Chase them. Behind them, the group from grade 9 Heavenly Sect, who were concealing their auras and rushing over, was shocked when they saw Roving Heavens and the rest escaping. Damn, how did we get discovered from such a distance? Chase them. The sect leader of 3 Seas Sect was a little embarrassed. Trying to escape. Stay here. The Laozu of grade 9 Heavenly Sect was filled with murderous intent. With a wave of his arm, bolts of lightning struck towards Roving Heavens and the rest. A signal for help. Tianshan sword sect. Wang Xian sensed the distress signal from Roving Heavens and the rest. Looking at the horrifying energy fluctuations coming from their direction, his face turned cold. Without any hesitation, he charged over. Are they from Tianshan sword sect? Courting death. Wang Xian's face was filled with murderous intent as he flew over. Around him, Ao Qi and Ao Xie sensed the situation and immediately flew over. Dragon King. Feeling the lightning behind them, Roving Heavens and the rest were embarrassed. Seeing Wang Xian charging over, they immediately shouted, "Courting death!" Wang Xian was infuriated. With a wave of his arm, the 5 elements grindstone flew towards roving heavens and the rest. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Behind them, the attacking lightning was immediately blocked. Roving heavens and the rest quickly flew towards Wang Xian. From the left and right, Ao Xie, Ao Qi, and the rest also flew over to meet up with Wang Xian. Wang Xian stood in the void and stared at the group of people ahead. Grade 9 Heavenly Sect, Monster Slayer Sect, 3 Seas Sect, Jianhua Group, Black Forest Group. Seeing the clothes they were wearing, Wang Xian's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Surround them immediately. When the Laozu of Grade 9 Heavenly Sect saw Wang Xian attacking and realized that they did not escape, his eyes beamed with excitement. Haha, great. The sect leader of 3 Seas Sect and the rest were also filled with murderous intent. They knew very well how many people from Dragon Palace had entered this place. This time, they had also sent out nearly double the strength of Dragon Palace to hunt them down. In this abyss where they could not return to their own holy kingdom, they could carry out a wild hunt. Grade 9 Heavenly Sect and a bunch of small fries like you are really courting death. Seeing them flying over in an encirclement, Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he spoke coldly. Chapter 2573. Ha ha ha, Dragon King of Dragon Palace, you call us small fries. Let's see where you can run to now. In the abyss, an excited voice came from the sect leader of 3 Seas Sect. He stood on the Laozu of Grade 9 Heavenly Sect and stared at Wang Xian and his group with a hideous face. This time, they had finally found the opportunity. He wanted Dragon Palace to pay a heavy price. Hee. The rest of them heard Wang Xian's words and revealed a cold look. They swept their gaze across the experts of Dragon Palace with murderous intent in their eyes. About 140 members of Dragon Palace were all Immortal God King experts. On their side, there were 300 Immortal God Kings, including 5 6th Order Immortal God Kings. Compared to the Dragon Palace, their strength was much stronger than theirs. This made all of them extremely excited. This time, they could kill over 100 Immortal God King experts of Dragon Palace. Hee, I didn't expect you guys to find your way here. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and stared coldly at the people from Grade 9 Heavenly Sect. He didn't expect to bump into them in the vast abyss. However, this wasn't a bad thing for Dragon Palace. Haha, Dragon King, there are many things that you didn't expect. But let me remind you that we are from Tianshan Sword Sect. The Laozu of Grade 9 Heavenly Sect laughed and said, "Oh." Wang Xian raised an eyebrow and his eyes glistened. Are you trying to sow discord? Doesn't Tianshan Sword Sect know? You should be able to guess if I'm trying to sow discord or not. The Laozu of Grade 9 Heavenly Sect smirked. Tianshan Sword Sect wanted to use them to attack and even kill Dragon King and his group. Although they were here to kill those from Dragon Palace, the Laozu of Grade 9 Heavenly Sect was more than happy to drag Tianshan Sword Sect down with them. The more forces that Dragon Palace offended, the happier they would be. Dragon King, let's have a spar. I'd like to see what you, the newly risen leader, can do. As the Laozu of Grade 9 Heavenly Sect spoke, a sharp aura was released from his body. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and stared at him. Haha, take this. The 9th Grade Heavenly Sect's Patriarch laughed maniacally. His body was instantly covered with lightning, and a lightning hammer appeared in his hand. A thunder hammer appeared in his hand and struck towards Wang Xian. Let me see what you can do. Wang Xian moved and the 5 elements grindstone appeared in his hand. He easily blocked the power of the lightning. His body shook and he flew up into the sky. Ha ha ha, good. Leave this Dragon King to me. I'll leave the rest to you. Kill them all. Don't let a single one escape. The old ancestor of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect laughed heartily when he saw the Dragon King flying up into the sky. Opening a battlefield with the Dragon Palace was exactly what he wanted. This way, the other people could surround and kill the 100 or so undying God Kings from Dragon Palace. Hee. Wang Xian's eyes lit up when he saw the Laozu of the 9th Grade Heavenly Sect flying over. His thoughts were the same as the 9th Grade Heavenly Sect's patriarchs. Leave no one alive. Wang Xian also roared. His arm instantly turned into a dragon claw and attacked the elder of the 9th grade heavenly sect. Myriad thunder rain. The eyes of the 9th grade heavenly sect's patriarch shot out lightning, as if heavenly lightning had descended. Boom. In an instant, the battle between Wang Xian and the Laozu of the 9th grade heavenly sect erupted. Kill, kill, kill. Ha ha ha, kill all the experts from Dragon Palace. Don't let a single one escape. As the battle erupted in the sky, the leader of the 3 Seas sect roared ferociously from below. Leave no one alive. Roving Heavens and the rest stared at the group of undying god kings surrounding them. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent as they said the same. All right, leave no one alive. Roving Crab laughed eerily. The other party had 5 6th order Immortal King Realm experts. Among them were Roving Crab himself, Roving Heavens, Ao Chi, Sly Demon, Duan Jinming, and a Devouring Dragon. That was a total of 6 6th order Immortal King Realm expert. However, Roving Demon had the ability to instantly kill someone of the same level, in addition to the group of devouring dragons in his body. Kill, roar, roar, roar. Before the other party could make a move, the Berserk Roving Heavens, Ao Chi, and the rest waved the weapons in their hands and attacked the 3 Seas sect's leader and the 9th grade heavenly sect's elder. At the same time, their bodies transformed into incomparably berserk battle forms. 2 different types of berserk dragons with the same aura, courting death. Attack. Surround them. Surround them. On the other side, the 300 Immortal King Realm experts from the 5 factions roared as they surrounded them. Roar, 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 surround us. Roving Crab roared, his eyes filled with mockery. Children, come out and fight. He immediately transformed into a 20,000-meter-long devouring dragon and roared. Roar, roar, roar. In the next instant, Roving Crab seemed to have turned into a berserk black hole, and roars could be heard from within. Roar, roar, roar. Following that, devouring dragons flew out of his body one by one. One of them even had the same size as Roving Crab, and it exuded a heart-palpitating power. Roar, roar, roar. Over 500 Immortal King Realm devouring dragons flew out, their faces filled with savagery as they charged towards the 300 Immortal King Realm experts from the 5 faction. Shit. Seeing the sudden appearance of over 500 Immortal King Realm experts, the 5 factions' experts' faces change. Damn it, they actually hid over 500 Immortal King Realm expert. The 3 Seas sect's leader's face darkened as he roared in anger. This Dragon Palace had actually hidden over 500 Immortal King Realm experts since they came to the Abyss. Did they know that they were here? At this moment, the 5 factions' Immortal King Realm experts felt as though they had fallen into a trap. Ah! Suddenly, a scream of terror rang out. The 5 factions' experts' hearts pounded violently when they heard the scream, and they hurriedly looked to the side. On the far left, an old ancestor from the Monster Slayer sect raised his head with his eyes wide open, his face filled with fear as he trembled in the void. There was a claw piercing through his chest. A black and white shadow was attached to his back, causing his life force to rapidly fade away. Sigh, everyone saw the black and white shadow, and saw the Monster Slayer sect's old ancestor, a 6th order Immortal King Realm expert, and their hearts turned cold. Ah. At the same time, cries of agony rang out continuously. At this moment, everyone's faces changed as they looked around cautiously. Be careful, there's an ambush. The 9th grade heavenly sect's elder hurriedly shouted. Their foreheads were filled with cold sweat as they looked around cautiously. Surround them. At this time, Duan Jinming's voice rang out, and the Dragon Palace's 700 Immortal King Realm experts immediately surrounded the 300 Immortal King Realm expert. At this moment, the roles of the hunter and the prey had been completely swapped. Chapter 2574. Damn it. What's that? How can they hide in the void? Oh no, there are too many experts from Dragon Palace. At this moment, when the Dragon Palace members surrounded the experts of the 5 factions, when the Spike Dragons attacked, instantly killing 40 undying god kings, the Dragon Palace members had already surrounded the 5 factions. The 5 major forces felt their scalps go numb, their eyes filled with fear and terror. In just an instant, 40 immortal kings were assassinated. Among them, One was a 6th-order immortal king, and 2 were 5th-order immortal kings. What shocked them the most was that after the assassination, the 40 figures disappeared once again. What was more shocking was that they couldn't detect their presence. This cold sweat broke out on the foreheads of the people from the 5 forces. Kill, don't let a single one of them escape. Roving Heavens let out a violent roar and charged towards them. Kill. Aochi followed closely behind. Shit, we're not their match. The 6th-order immortal king from the Jianhua organization shouted as he raised the shield in his hand to defend. They're twice as strong as us, we can't fight them. There are still those strange creatures lurking around us, we're not their match. Everyone from the 5 major forces roared with incomparably ugly expressions. They were panicking. In the abyss, they couldn't escape immediately. Once they fell, they would be finished. Laozu, save us. At this moment, the experts from Grade 9 Heavenly Sect couldn't help but cry out to their Laozu. What? The Laozu from Grade 9 Heavenly Sect was shocked when he heard the cry for help. He immediately looked down. When he saw that they were surrounded and there were 40 corpses in the void, his expression changed. Damn it, Dragon King, you're playing us. The Laozu from Grade 9 Heavenly Sect was shocked as he stared at Wang Xian with bloodshot eyes. Ha ha ha, you really think that our Dragon Palace doesn't have any defenses? A bunch of fools. Wang Xian sneered as he swung his dragon claws towards him. Damn it. The Laozu from Grade 9 Heavenly Sect's heart sank as he hurled the lightning hammer in his hand. At the same time, he wanted to fly down to rescue them. I'm afraid you're not strong enough to save them. With a wave of his arm, the 5 elements grindstone collided with the thunder hammer. At the same time, Wang Xian's dragon claw grabbed towards the Laozu of the 9th grade Heavenly Sect. Get lost. The 9th grade Heavenly Sect's ancestor shouted furiously. Ha ha ha, you want to get rid of me now? Aren't you thinking too much? Wang Xian's face was filled with mockery as he stopped him. Kill everyone else. At this moment, he commanded the Dragon Palace members below him. More than 500 devouring dragons roared. Their massive bodies charged towards the people from the 5 great forces. Breakthrough. At this moment, all the experts of the 5 forces were no longer thinking about killing the members of Dragon Palace. It was good enough that he could escape now. Breakthrough, breakthrough. One by one, the undying God Kings roared, even the 5 6th-order Immortal King Realm experts split up to break through. Let's stop them and try to make them all stay here. Duan Jinming roared and locked onto a 6th-order Immortal God King Realm expert. Ao Xie and the others also locked onto one each. Kill, kill, kill. All the experts of the 5 forces fought with their lives on the line, their faces flushed red as they tried to break through. However, escaping from the encirclement of the Dragon Palace experts was not going to be easy. Soon, 2 Dragon Palace members, and even 3 Dragon Palace members surrounded one of them. One by one, the experts of the 5 forces were completely locked down. Once they were locked down, it would be the stage for the spike dragon species. The experts of the 5 forces were already having a hard time dealing with 2 to 3 Dragon Palace members of the same level. Against the spike dragon's ambush, they would be heavily injured no matter how lucky they were. However, if they could not dodge in time, death awaited them. Another round of attacks, and over 20 undying God Kings fell. Some of the experts of the 5 forces looked over, and their faces turned even paler. Over 20 undying God Kings had fallen, which meant that there would be another 40 to 50 Dragon Palace experts of the same level attacking them. If this went on, they would all be finished soon. The 3 of us will break through from here. Quick, even if we're heavily injured, we have to break through. 3 Seas Sect's sect leader saw this and his heart tightened. He hurriedly yelled at the 6th Order Immortal Kings of the Jianhua Group and Black Forest Group. All right. The other 2 experts gritted their teeth as well. The 3 of them saw an opportunity, and even if they were to suffer heavy injuries, they had to break through. Stop them. Roving Heavens and Ao Qi swung their weapons towards the 3 of them. It's over. The 6th Order Immortal King's heart sank when he saw the attack behind him. They could not take this attack head-on, but if they stopped to defend, they would not be able to escape. I will avenge you. At this moment, a voice rang in their ears. Following which, The two experts from the Black Forest group and Jianhua group felt a huge force landing on them. They widened their eyes and looked at 3C's sect leader in disbelief, their eyes filled with rage. Halberd Huang Yuan. Bam! The rank 6 God King of the Jianhua Corporation roared in rage. However, in the next moment, a terrifying attack landed on the two of them. 3C's sect leader gritted his teeth and fled. Damn it! Behind, Roving Heavens and Aochi saw 3C's sect leader using two 6th Order Immortal Kings as shields to break through their defenses, and their faces change. Ah! At this moment, a scream came from behind. They turned around and saw Roving Demon assassinating another 6th Order Immortal King realm expert. Don't bother chasing, it's hard to catch up. Kill the rest. Roving Heavens pondered for a moment before speaking. 4 6th Order Immortal Kings were killed, 1 escaped, and the rest of the Immortal Kings had no way of defending themselves. One by one, the Immortal Kings were killed. No, Dragon Palace, just you wait. One day, we will annihilate you. Up in the sky, the 9th grade Heavenly Sect's old ancestor roared with an ugly expression as he saw the experts falling one after another. Hehe, not bad, one of your people escaped. Wang Xian sneered as he spoke to the old ancestor of grade 9 Heavenly Sect. Scram! The lightning around the old ancestor of grade 9 Heavenly Sect rained down on Wang Xian, but after he released his attack, he retreated into the distance. Wang Xian blocked his attack and was taken aback. So you guys are the ones who got lost. He chuckled and did not pursue. Even if he could not return to his own God Kingdom, it would be exceptionally difficult for Wang Xian to make him stay. Chapter 2575. He. Looking at the disappearing figure of the old ancestor from grade 9 Heavenly Sect, he chuckled lightly. Dragon King, the leader of the 3C's sect escaped. Kill the rest, a total of 303 Immortal Kings and 4 6th Order Immortal King realm expert. Roving Heavens flew over and reported to Wang Xian. Very good. Keep their corpses, we'll continue hunting for abyss species. Wang Xian nodded. The arrival of grade 9 Heavenly Sect and the other 4 gave Wang Xian a good harvest. Over 100 Immortal King corpses and 5 6th Order Immortal King corpses. These resources were enough for the Dragon Palace to gain another 7th Order Immortal God King. As long as Dragon Palace has 7 to 8 7th Order Immortal King realm experts, we can consider annihilating grade 9 Heavenly Sect and the others. Wang Xian murmured. 7 to 8 7th Order Immortal King realm experts, coupled with the array, could kill 4 to 5 7th Order Immortal King realm expert. Now, with the resources on hand, they could increase by 2. Excluding him, they needed 5 more 7th Order Immortal King realm experts to guard Dragonstar. Let's hope we can gather all the resources in half a year, then we can make our move. He moved and led the members of Dragon Palace to fly in another direction. In the following month, Wang Xian and the rest continued to attract abyss species with dragon blood. After an entire month, they had gained a lot again. With all the resources on hand, they could create 3 7th Order Immortal King realm expert. This kind of harvest can be said to be fast, but also slow. A month later, Wang Xian looked at the harvest in his hand. This kind of increase was extremely terrifying for any force. Still a little weak, we can only run when we encounter a larger group of abyss species. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows as he thought of the situation they had encountered in this month. Once the number of abyss species reached over 100,000, most of them had 7th Order Immortal King realm abyss species commander. Given Wang Xian's strength, they could only retreat when facing such a race. And all this was because they were too weak. Dragon King, we have a situation here. At this moment, Roving Demon flew over quickly and spoke to Wang Xian. What's the situation? He raised his eyebrows and asked immediately. Dragon King, we found an incomparably huge mountain there. There are many caves in the mountain, and we found that there are abyssal species inside. Roving Demon reported immediately. Bring me there. Wang Xian flew over immediately. This is. When he arrived, his face was filled with shock as he looked at the huge mountain in front of him. According to Wang Xian's senses, the entire mountain was about 2 to 300 million kilometers in size. As for its diameter, He couldn't sense it at all. The pitch-black mountain stood tall in the abyss, looking exceptionally magnificent. On this towering mountain peak, there were densely packed cave entrances. Some were big, some were small. Some abyssal species could be seen entering and exiting the place. This is a large abyssal race. Wang Xian squinted his eyes, which were burning with passion. Encountering such a large abyssal race, and one that had its own territory and domain, was dangerous but also a fortuitous encounter. Once they could hunt down this large abyssal race, the harvest would be abnormally terrifying. Take out the dragon blood immediately. Let's see if we can attract some here. Also, get roving heavens and the rest over. Wang Xian squinted his eyes. If the dragon blood could lure out the abyssal species inside, then they could hunt them endlessly. He wouldn't have to spend a lot of time looking for it. Moreover, according to Wang Xian's estimation, the number of abyssal species in this race was definitely not small. There should be hundreds of thousands of them. Yes, Dragon King. Roving Demon nodded. Soon, all the members of Dragon Palace gathered. Swoosh. Wang Xian waved his arm and a puddle of dragon blood was placed in front of him. Hide, he said softly, immediately hid himself and stared at the position in front of him. Squeak squeak squeak. Ga ga ga. It was so fast that Wang Xian and the rest were shocked. One by one, the abyssal species flew out from the mountain peak and flew towards the direction of the dragon blood. Ga ga ga. A powerful abyssal species spread its wings and flew over at a terrifying speed. Roar. But at this moment, the ball-like abyssal species flew over at an even more terrifying speed and slammed into another. Bam! The massive force immediately sent it flying. Behind, tens of thousands of abyssal species peeked out from inside, emitting a deathly and terrifying power. There are rank 7 undying God King abyssal species, and there are 2 of them. Wang Xian frowned when he saw the ball-like abyssal species and the abyssal species behind it that was filled with bone spikes. We can't fight them. Go, let's escape. Wang Xian did not hesitate and immediately ordered all the members of the Dragon Palace. Ga ga ga. However, the moment they moved, the abyssal species behind them sensed it and let out a series of roars. The ball-shaped abyssal species at the front flew to the side of the dragon blood and swallowed it directly. Following which, it stared at Wang Xian and the rest with bloodthirsty eyes. Roar roar. The next moment, it roared and chased after them. Oh no, it's catching up. Speed up. Wang Xian saw the abyssal species chasing after them, and the tens of thousands of abyssal species did not hesitate to chase after them. Wang Xian cursed under his breath. He enveloped the members of the Dragon Palace with his energy and joined in immediately. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Roar roar. However, the abyssal species did not give up. It roared angrily and chased after them. This bunch of guys. Wang Xian ran for half an hour. Seeing the 2 abyssal species chasing after him, he was a little embarrassed. Get out. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. After hesitating for a moment, he flew towards the exit. He was prepared to make a trip back to the Dragon Palace to enhance the strength of the Dragon Palace and convert all the resources into combat power. Behind him, the 2 level 7 Eternal Lord God Realm abyssal species chased after him for a total of 20 hours before stopping. In the middle, Wang Xian had no choice but to keep Roving Demon and the rest into the motherness. After 20 hours, Wang Xian slowed down with a dark expression. Fortunately, he was a level 7 Undying God King. If he was a level 8 Undying God King, he would be finished. Phew, I'd better get out first. Wang Xian heaved a heavy sigh of relief and continued to head towards the exit. After staying in there for 2 months, he was still about 5 hours away from the exit. Hey! Just as Wang Xian was about to reach the exit, he saw some familiar figures. Looking at the group of people tens of millions of kilometers away, his eyes lit up. Tianshan Sword Sect. Chapter 2576. Sigh, it's been 2 months and we've only gained a little. Moreover, Attendant Foam was also severely injured. The best one was the hundreds of abyss species. Damn, if it wasn't for the Dragon King, those abyss species would be ours. I wonder if the second-class 9 Heavenly Sect annihilated the experts of Dragon Palace. TSK. If the Dragon Palace didn't leave, they would have suffered heavy losses even if they didn't annihilate all of them. Not far from the exit of the abyss, the people from Tianshan sword sect were discussing among themselves. This time, the Laozu of their sect had led them into the abyss. In the end, they had gained little in the past 2 months. One of the attendants was even ambushed and almost died. This caused their expressions to turn extremely ugly. The thought of the opportunity to kill hundreds of abyss species was snatched away by the Dragon King of Dragon Palace made them even angrier. Now, they were praying that the people from Dragon Palace would flee after being chased by the second-class 9 heavenly sect. Shut up. At this time, the elder of Tianshan sword sect who stood at the front suddenly said in a deep voice, "Huh." The crowd was slightly shocked. The other experts sensed something and looked to the side immediately. That is Dragon King. The people from Tianshan sword sect were slightly shocked. Subsequently, they pursed their lips and kept quiet. "What brings you here, Dragon King?" When the elder of Tianshan sword sect saw Wang Xian flying over, his eyes flickered as he cupped his fist and asked, "Nothing much. I just want to ask you a question." When Wang Xian noticed the group of them, he flew over immediately. He swept his gaze across the people from Tianshan sword sect, sensed the surroundings, and asked with a smile, "Oh, what's the matter, Dragon King? We'll definitely tell you sincerely." The elder of Tianshan sword sect was slightly puzzled and asked immediately, "A month ago, the bunch of idiots from the second-class 9 heavenly sect rushed over immediately after you guys left. A Laozu from the second-class 9 heavenly sect said that you guys told them we were in this direction." Wang Xian squinted his eyes and asked them, "Is this true?" His eyes flickered as he sized up the expressions of the people from Tianshan sword sect. When he finished his sentence, he clearly sensed the slight change in some of their expressions and their eyes widened. Even the elder of Sky Mountain sword sect at the front froze. "Dragon King, we have no enmity with you. How could we do such a thing? It must be the 9th grade heaven sect who deliberately sowed discord between us." The elder of Tianshan sword sect immediately explained, "Is that so? But from your expressions, I can sense another answer." The corner of Wang Xian's mouth curved slightly as he looked at them mockingly. His words changed the expressions of everyone in Sky Mountain sword sect. The Tianshan sword sect's elder's heart tightened. "Dragon King, we can guarantee in the name of Tianshan sword sect that we didn't do such a thing." "That's right. The grade 9 heavenly sect must have said those words on purpose to sow discord between our Tianshan sword sect and the Dragon Palace. If a conflict breaks out between us, the Dragon Palace will not only have to face them, but also the Tianshan sword sect. They are trying to push our Tianshan sword sect to their side on purpose, and then join forces with us to fight against your Dragon Palace. So, this is just a trick of the grade 9 heavenly sect." Next to him, a middle-aged man also spoke. From his words, there was another meaning. Don't push the Tianshan sword sect to the opposite side of the Dragon Palace. Because once the Tianshan sword sect and the Dragon Palace became enemies, they could annihilate the Dragon Palace if they joined forces. "Hehe, I already know the answer from you guys." Wang Xian smiled faintly. With a slight movement of his hand, the 5 elements grindstone appeared in his hand. In an instant, a terrifying aura shrouded everyone in the Tianshan sword sect. "What? Oh no." Sensing Wang Xian's terrifying aura, everyone from the Tianshan sword sect was horrified. "Dragon King, what are you trying to do? We are disciples of the Tianshan sword sect. If you attack us, the Tianshan sword sect will not let you off. When we join forces with the grade 9 heavenly sect, your Dragon Palace won't be able to resist us." The elder of the Tianshan sword sect narrowed his eyes as he warned Wang Xian, "If you want to harm our Dragon Palace, you will have to pay a heavy price. Die." Without any hesitation, Wang Xian shrouded all of them with the 5 elements grindstone. "Dragon King, you are making an enemy out of the Tianshan sword sect." An expert from the Tianshan sword sect roared furiously. "Oh no, run." The elder of the Tianshan sword sect roared immediately. "You want to escape? Do you think you can? Since you dare to plot against me, go to hell." Wang Xian's eyes were filled with ruthlessness as the 5 elements law of annihilation descended. "It's over. No, no, no. Dragon King, stop. Otherwise, the Tianshan sword sect will not let you off. The group of people roared in fear. Wang. The 5 elements grindstone descended and shrouded them with terrifying energy. The weaker ones died instantly. Even the elder of the Tianshan sword sect was severely injured. He wanted to escape, but he was too close to Wang Xian. With a difference of 1 level, there was no way he could escape. Fut. Dragon Palace, you will definitely be annihilated by the Tianshan sword sect. The elder of the Tianshan sword sect roared in despair. Hee. Wang Xian sneered. With a wave of his arm, all the corpses were kept into his space ring. He swept his gaze across the surroundings, but no one saw him. A bunch of idiots. Since you dare to plot against us, you will have to bear the consequences. Wang Xian murmured. He didn't care about killing the people from the Tianshan sword sect at all. After all, no one would know that he was the one who killed them. Even if they knew, so what? With the addition of the Tianshan sword sect, the Dragon Palace would still be able to resist. Moving his body, Wang Xian immediately flew out of the abyss. Arriving at the main road at the entrance, he flew towards the center of the South Star system. The Dragon King is out. When Wang Xian disappeared, 2 middle-aged men on the land plate at the entrance of the abyss whispered to each other, sending the message out. More than a month ago, the 5 major forces suffered heavy losses. 5 sixth-order Immortal King Realm experts were killed, and the remaining experts numbered more than 100. This made the 5 major forces even more furious. Even the old ancestors of the 9th grade Heavenly Sect wanted to kill their way over, but after much hesitation, they did not make a move. However, the battle between them had just begun. Not bad. After rushing for more than 10 hours, Wang Xian arrived at the Dragon Palace with a smile on his face. Looking at the rewards, he was in a good mood. Prime Minister Turtle, use all these resources to increase our high-end combat strength. After that, we will enter the abyss again. Wang Xian called Prime Minister Turtle over and took out all the resources. With the addition of 3 7th-order Immortal King Realm experts, Wang Xian could bring them to the old nest to give it a try. Chapter 2577. Back in the Dragon Palace, Ao Chitian, Ao Yao and Ao Qi immediately entered the dragon transformation pool. This time, Wang Xian was prepared to raise their battle strength to the 7th-order Undying God King realm. Apart from that, Wang Xian would use the rest of the corpses to increase their battle strength. Over a dozen 6th-order Undying God King corpses, and even more 5th-order and 4th-order Undying God King corpses. These over 1,000 corpses would all be used to increase the battle strength of the 6th-order and 5th-order Undying God King realm. When he stepped into the abyss again, Wang Xian was prepared to bring all of them to the nest of the abyss creatures. If he was lucky enough to capture a dozen 7th-order Undying God King abyss creatures, then the strength of the Dragon Palace would increase tremendously. As the days passed, the strength of the members of the Dragon Palace increased rapidly. However, at the entrance of the abyss closest to the South Star system, a group of experts from the Tianshan sword sect stood not far away, their expressions extremely ugly. It's already been 5 days, and 6th elder and the rest have yet to come out. An elder looked at the bottomless abyss in front of him with an ugly expression. Within the main sect, once an expert led a disciple into the abyss, there would be a fixed date. Normally, once an expert led a disciple into the abyss, there would be a fixed date. However, it had already been 10 days, and there was still no sign of anyone. In the abyss, one could not return to their own god kingdom directly, nor could they communicate. If they did not return for a long period of time, it would mean that they had met with danger. Damn it, with 6th elder's vigilance, he should be fine, unless he really met with a powerful existence, an existence that cannot be resisted. A middle-aged man bellowed with an ugly expression. This time, they had sent over a dozen Undying God Kings and an elder. This was a considerable force for the Tianshan sword sect. Let's wait for another 5 days. If they still haven't returned after 5 days, then something must have happened. The leading elder let out a sigh and said, "Hey, the people from the Tianshan sword sect have been waiting there for a few days, waiting for their members." At this time, in a restaurant far away, 2 middle-aged men looked towards them and whispered, There should be experts from other sects that have yet to come out. The two of them spoke, not paying too much attention. They were mainly here to monitor the Dragon Palace. Another 5 days passed. Within the Dragon Palace, Roving Demon, Roving Heavens, and Roving Chi had completed their advancement. At the same time, there were 15 6th Order Immortal King Realm experts and 45th Order Immortal King Realm expert. Wang Xian swept his gaze across them and revealed a satisfied look. Let's go. His eyes flickered as he immediately gave the order to his members. This time, there were still 200 members, but there were a total of 4 7th Order Immortal God King Realm experts including him. There were 15 6th Order Undying God Kings and 45th Order Undying God Kings. The rest were all 3rd Order Undying God Kings. 200 members, almost 80% of the core members of Dragon Palace. Go. After flying for more than 10 hours, Wang Xian and the rest arrived at the entrance of the abyss and flew towards the land. Let's go. It's been 15 days. 6th Elder and the others should be dead by now. Wang Xian and the rest had just arrived on land when they saw a group of people flying out. He swept his gaze over them and a cold smile appeared on his face. Tianshan Sword Faction. He mumbled as he flew towards the abyss. Let's go straight to the nest of the Void Mountain. If there's another 7th Order Immortal King Realm Abyss species, we'll be able to kill it. Wang Xian's eyes shone with excitement. Increase our speed and fly over, he said as he flew towards the nest of the Abyss species. As the distance was relatively far, it would take at least a few days to fly over. When Wang Xian and the rest stepped into the abyss again, news of their arrival reached the 5 superpowers. But this time, the 5 superpowers did not take any action. The Dragon King is leading the experts of Dragon Palace on the move again. What should we do? Are we just going to watch? On a planet in the territory of Rank 9 Heavenly Sect, the leader of 3 Seas Sect roared in a low voice. Previously, only he and the old ancestor of Rank 9 Heavenly Sect had escaped. They did not discover that he had killed 2 experts from the Zhenhua group and Black Forest group. Now that he received this news, the leader's face was contorted. Previously, the 3 Seas Sect had also sent 60 Immortal King experts. Now, the entire 3 Seas Sect only had slightly more than 100 Immortal King expert. Because of Dragon Palace, the entire 3 Seas Sect had suffered great losses, but the more it was so, the more the leader wanted revenge. He wanted to annihilate Dragon Palace. He wanted to kill everyone in Dragon Palace. The current Dragon Palace had almost become the heart demon of the leader of 3 Seas Sect. We suffered great losses the last time. That Dragon King is so cunning. Unless the 5 superpowers gather all their experts, it will be too difficult to annihilate them. The CEO of the Zhenhua group said with a gloomy face. Their losses the last time were too great. Their Zhenhua group only had 4 6th Order Immortal King experts, and they lost half of them. If this continued, they would not be able to afford it. Most importantly, the Dragon King had brought along 700 Immortal King experts and that mysterious assassin. If they wanted to annihilate the Dragon King, they had to use all their strength. Even the Rank 9 Heavenly Sect had to send out all their experts for that to be possible. Send out all our experts. The Rank 9 Heavenly Sect's Vice Sect leader frowned, and his expression changed. Right, I received a piece of news. At this moment, the Demon Slayer Sect's sect leader suddenly raised his head. What news? The group of experts looked towards him. I received a piece of news from Tianshan Sword Sect. The experts from Tianshan Sword Sect that went to the abyss this time might have fallen, and I heard from sect leader Ji that Tianshan Sword Sect was the one who told them the location of the Dragon King, and that there was a conflict between Tianshan Sword Sect and Dragon Palace. The Demon Slayer Sect's sect leader said indifferently. You mean to frame the Dragon King? Sow discord between Tianshan Sword Sect and Dragon Palace? That's not possible. The Rank 9 Heavenly Sect's Vice Sect leader frowned, and then shook his head. According to the news we received, when the Dragon King came out, the people from Tianshan Sword Sect had disappeared. The Dragon King has a motive, and it's a coincidence. The Demon Slayer Sect's sect leader's eyes flickered as he continued. Even so, without concrete evidence, Tianshan's sword sect will not make an enemy out of Dragon Palace. Furthermore, we have such an obvious motive, and Tianshan's sword sect is not stupid. An expert from the Black Forest group frowned, feeling that it was not feasible. Chapter 2578. We're not sure if the Dragon King killed the members of Tianshan's sword sect, but we can make a guess. Even if they didn't, it won't affect us. Besides, we don't need to inform Tianshan's sword sect and the others personally. We just need to pass the message to them. Let Tianshan's sword sect decide for themselves. The sect leader of Monster Slayer sect said with a smile. When the others heard him, they fell into deep thought. That's feasible. We won't suffer any losses anyway. If we can get Tianshan's sword sect to be on our side, we can easily destroy the Dragon Palace. The deputy sect leader of Grade 9 Heavenly Sect nodded. So, we won't make a move for now? Asked the sect leader of 3 Seas sect with a frown. Let's stop for now. We won't make a move before we're confident, said the deputy sect leader of Grade 9 Heavenly Sect. The other forces also nodded. I'll go spread some news first. The sect leader of Monster Slayer sect left with a smile. The rest of the experts hesitated for a moment before leaving one after another. Not long after, someone posted an anonymous message on the artificial intelligence system, saying that he saw the Dragon King killing 63 members of Tianshan's sword sect in the abyss. The news didn't cause much of a stir. After all, it was an anonymous message without any evidence. Not many people believed it. However, the news spread to Tianshan's sword sect. How did the person who posted the news know that the 6th elder and the others are 63 people? In a grand hall of Tianshan's sword sect, an elder frowned when he saw the news and looked at the people around him. Many people know that the 6th elder and the others went to the abyss this time. However, there shouldn't be many people who know that there are 63 people. However, those who are observant should know how reliable this news is. An elder frowned and asked the crowd. The person who posted the news anonymously obviously doesn't want us to know. Perhaps he's afraid of the power of the Dragon Palace and sent someone to investigate the Dragon King's whereabouts during this period. The great elder who was the leader said plainly. Yes. One of the deacons nodded his head and immediately headed out. The crowd waited patiently. Elder, according to the information we received, the time the Dragon King and the others entered and exited the abyss is basically the same as the 6th elder and the others. Soon, a piece of news arrived, causing the people of Tianshan's sword sect to frown. Report to Lord Sword King and let him decide. An old man hesitated for a moment before saying, "All right." Everyone nodded. This was related to a powerful force, and it wasn't something they could decide on their own. Send someone to test the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and see if they were the ones who killed him. If we don't apologize, then it's a different story. Very soon, the Sword King sent a message. They were not sure if the 6th elder and the others had been killed by the Dragon King, but they could test it out. As for the result of the test, if it wasn't the Dragon King and the others who did it, he would just apologize. There wouldn't be any harm. The people of Tianshan's sword sect immediately nodded and flew toward the abyss. When the Dragon King brought his men out, they would be able to confirm whether the 6th elder and the others were killed or not. While the 9th grade Heavenly Sect was plotting against Wang Xian and the Tianshan Sword Sect was about to test the waters, Wang Xian led the members of the Dragon Palace to the front of the huge peak. The towering mountain stood tall in the abyss seed like a beehive, and it contained waves of power that made one fearful. From time to time, there would be bloodthirsty abyss monsters peeking out from the holes. Retreat 100 million kilometers and place the dragon blood here. The rest of the members, hide in the array and don't get discovered. Wang Xian and the rest went to a place 100 million kilometers away from the peak and took out the dragon blood. Subsequently, the members of the Dragon Palace entered a concealment array. This array was made by the Heavenly Array and could completely hide the rank 7 abyss monsters. After placing the dragon blood, Wang Xian and the rest hid in 4 different directions and waited quietly. In less than 5 minutes, a series of roars were heard. In their sight, a round abyss monster was staring at the dragon blood passionately and flying over at a terrifying speed. It was also this guy who had devoured the dragon blood previously. GGGG. At this time, another sound came from behind. The rank 7 immortal king abyss monster with bone spikes was also flying over. Behind it, there were 2 to 3,000 abyss monsters, among which there were 4 to 500 immortal king level 1s. Alright, 2 rank 7 immortal king level 1s, get ready. Gooey Yarrow, you and Roving Heavens will kill one instantly, the other will surround it. As for the remaining 2 to 3,000 broken Goldming, you guys finish them off quickly. Don't alert the abyss monsters. Wang Xian immediately reminded. Yes, Dragon King. As the voices entered his mind, Wang Xian's eyes were glued to the front. That round rank 7 immortal king abyss monster looked bloated, but it was the fastest. It was still the first to reach the dragon blood. It stared at the dragon blood with excitement and greed. GGGG. Behind, the abyss monster with bone spikes let out an angry roar. The round abyss monster ignored it and opened its mouth to devour the dragon blood. Attack! At this time, Wang Xian's eyes lit up as he roared. Wang! In an instant, Roving Demon and Roving Heavens appeared behind the round abyss monster. Fart! Roving Demon's claws pierced into the body of the round abyss monster. The instant of intense pain made it release an angry and frightened roar. Sharp thorns suddenly appeared on its back, piercing towards Roving Demon. Roving Demon saw the spikes and his expression change. Bam! But at this time, the sea-calming godly needle in Roving Heaven's hand landed on its head. The horrifying power made it cry out in pain. Roving Demon's figure flickered and a light and dark cross landed on its body. An agonizing cry was heard and the round abyss monster revealed a look of fear. Bam! In the next instant, its body exploded and split into a dozen parts, escaping in all directions. Trying to escape. Dream on. Roving Demon's arm shook and the chains on the sea-calming godly needle extended, covering a radius of 10 million kilometers. Light and dark shadow kill. Roving Demon saw the changes in the abyss monster and his eyes turned cold. Instantly, he turned into a dozen black and white shadows and chased after it. Fut fut fut. The piercing sound came one after another. Chapter 2579. The circular abyssal creature let out a despairing cry. The dozen or so bodies it had split into were instantly killed. Corpses were left on the ground. Rumble. At the same time, Wang Xian, Ao Qi, and the rest of the members of Dragon Palace move. They hid on both sides as the terrifying energy of the 2 to 3,000 abyss species covered a radius of tens of millions of kilometers. The 5 elements grindstone floated in the sky as the array on it descended, forming a defense that could trap a 6th-order immortal king realm expert. Die. Wang Xian's arm turned into a dragon claw as he charged towards the 7th-order immortal king realm abyss species. Around them, Ao Qi and the others roared madly. Streaks of blood-red lightning covered all the abyssal species. Peng peng peng. GGGG. Ga 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 ga. All sorts of cries rang out as the abyss species fell into a state of panic. The abyss species did not have much intelligence as they hunted and killed based on their instincts. Without the orders of their leader, they were like headless flies. In an instant, all the abyss species below the immortal king realm were killed. The rest of the abyss species fled in different directions as they witnessed this scene. GGGG. The abyss species with bone spikes stared at Wang Xian's dragon claw with bloodshot eyes as the bone spikes on its body stood up. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The bone spikes met Wang Xian's dragon claw. Boom boom boom. In an instant, the sound of explosions rang out as Wang Xian's dragon claw bled profusely. A 7th-order immortal king realm abyss species was indeed not easy to deal with. Wang Xian's eyes flashed coldly. Dragon King, we are here to help. At this time, Roving Demon and Roving Heaven's voices could be heard from the side. Roving Demon was the strongest amongst them. Both of them killed one in an instant before charging towards the other. Settle this quickly, Wang Xian roared. In order to prevent more powerful abyss demons from coming over from the nest of the abyss demons, they had to be fast. It's the Dragon King. Roving Heavens, and Roving Demon surrounded the 7th-order immortal king realm abyss species. Facing the attacks of Wang Xian, the 7th-order abyss species did not have the strength to escape as it tried to flee in all directions. Hualala. However, When Ao Chitian and Ao Chi sealed the entire world with the blood-red chains, that rank 7 abyss species went berserk. 2 minutes later, roving demon's claws pierced through his body. Roving heaven's rod landed heavily on his head, ending his life. Die. Wang Xian scanned the surroundings and saw a dozen 5th Order and 6th Order Immortal King Realm abyssal species fighting against the members of Dragon Palace. He waved his claw. Bam bam bam. Ao ao ao. A series of blood-curdling screams rang out as all the abyssal species were obliterated. Take the corpse away and change the location. Without any hesitation, Wang Xian waved his arm and kept the corpses one by one. The rest of the Dragon Palace masters also collected the corpses and flew towards the right side of the giant peak. Dragon King, the attack of the abyss type was a little strange. 2 members of the Dragon Palace were seriously injured. When they were about 100 million kilometers away from the other side of the giant peak, the group stopped. Roving Heavens reported to Wang Xian, "Let them recuperate first and not participate in the battle." Wang Xian replied immediately. The attack of the abyssal species was indeed a little strange. For example, the round abyssal species could split into nearly 20 abyssal species and escape. As for the abyssal species with bone spikes, it could shoot out its own bone spikes and the bone spikes could explode into terrifying explosions. Even with the strong defense of Wang Xian's dragon claw, he started bleeding instantly. If he was not careful, he could be seriously injured or even killed. Over here, it was much easier for a god king to die. Continue to attract. After setting up the array, he placed the dragon blood at the side and waited patiently. Perhaps the dragon blood had a strong attraction to the abyssal species. This time, there were still many abyssal species flying towards this direction. This time, it was a little more troublesome. At the front were 3 types of 7th Order Immortal King Realm abyssal species. Roving Demon, you guys pay attention. There are more than 300 abyssal species of the Immortal King Realm abyssal species. Roving Demon, you guys take care of them. Half an hour later, the roars of the abyssal species were heard. Wang Xian's eyes lit up as he reminded them one by one, "It's the Dragon King." The group of Dragon Palace masters nodded their heads solemnly. Cake. This was a group of abyssal species. They had 4 pitch-black bone wings and an extremely sharp head. At the tail, there was a meatball with a barb. There were about 2,000 of them, but there were 3 7th Order Immortal King Realm abyssal species. Kill. When 2,000 abyssal species flew over, Wang Xian roared and locked onto one. Roving Chitian, Roving Crab and the rest also locked onto one. Roving Demon hid in the surrounding void, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Cake. Seeing the sudden appearance of Wang Xian and the rest, the abyssal species exuded a tyrannical aura and charged over without any hesitation. Kill. The group of Dragon Palace members roared and bombarded the abyssal species with the overwhelming power of laws. The slaughter had begun. In the face of top-notch combat power, Dragon Palace only had 1 more member. Therefore, this battle would be extremely difficult. A violent battle was heard in the abyss. Other than the 3 7th Order Immortal King Realm abyssal species, the rest were all killed by the members of Dragon Palace 10 minutes later. However, these 3 abyssal species were extremely powerful. Wang Xian and the rest were struggling to hold them off. Seeing the death of their own clansmen, the 3 abyssal species became even more violent. The surrounding array was destroyed and the sound was transmitted to the location of the giant peak. At the entrance of the giant peak, the abyssal species looked over with cold eyes. Wang Xian cursed under his breath when he saw this. Fight and retreat at the same time. Wang Xian transmitted his voice to Roving Qi and the rest. Following which, the 3 of them retreated rapidly. Very soon, they had retreated 200 to 300 million kilometers. The 3 7th Order Immortal King Realm abyssal species were still chasing after them. Wang. Not long after, a black and white shadow appeared behind the abyssal species that Wang Xian was fighting. Fut. The black and white shadow instantly penetrated its huge head and entered its body. Fut. A second later, Roving Demon's body emerged from the body of the 7th Order Immortal King Realm abyssal species. Dragon King, 1 down. Roving Demon laughed and said, Kill the other two immediately. Wang Xian's eyes lit up as he charged over immediately. Chapter 2580. Rumble, rumble, rumble. In the void, the battle continued for half an hour before Wang Xian managed to kill all 3 7th Order Immortal King God King Realm Abyss species. Any injuries? He wiped the blood off his arm and asked the members of the Dragon Palace around him. Dragon King, there are no casualties this time. Roving Crab replied. These Abyss species are quite ferocious, Dragon King. I had to give it my all to deal with them alone, Roving Heavens said to Wang Xian. Indeed, they are stronger than human experts of the same level. Wang Xian nodded. Of course, this was also because Roving Heavens and the rest were fighting above their level. If Roving Heavens and the rest were at 7th Order Immortal King Realm, they could easily kill these Abyss species. According to the AI, the kings of the Abyss species can fight above their level. Seems like there's a high possibility of that, Wang Xian said. Roving Heavens and the rest nodded in agreement. Our strength is still a little weak, he murmured. 3 7th Order Immortal King Realm Abyss species were already so difficult to deal with. If there were 4 of them, it would be even more difficult for them to kill them. Moreover, Wang Xian felt that there should be even stronger Abyss species guarding within the giant peak. Once they attracted that kind of existence, they could only flee. If I can convert these Abyss species into resources, I can have another 6 to 7 7th Order Immortal King Realm experts under me. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment. Let's try again. Wang Xian thought about it and brought Roving Heavens and the rest to another location. This time, they were about 200 million kilometers away from the giant peak. They took out the dragon blood and waited there. Woo woo woo. Roars could be heard after 10 minutes. Wang Xian looked over. Another 3 7th Order Immortal King Realm Abyss species. Get ready. Wang Xian saw another 3 and his eyes lit up. He ordered the members of the Dragon Palace. Yes, Dragon King. The group of members waited quietly. Kill. When the group of Abyss species approached, Wang Xian and the rest attacked. Boom. In an instant, terrifying sounds of battle reverberated and waves of law energy rippled in all directions. Wang Xian moved and immediately transformed into the form of a divine dragon. He launched a violent attack. 4 against 3, Roving Demon was still hidden in the void, preparing to deal a fatal blow. As long as they killed one, their battle would be much easier. But this time, they weren't as lucky as before. As they fought, the terrifying shockwaves once again attracted the attention of many abyssal species in the giant peak. 5 minutes later, another group of abyssal species flew over, and there were 4 abyssal species in the lead. Oh no! When Wang Xian saw the 4 undying God King Abyss species, his expression changed. Run! Without any hesitation, he roared at all the members of Dragon Palace. Su su su. Without any hesitation, they turned around and fled. Wang Xian and the rest were very fast. If there were any members who could not keep up, he would immediately keep them in the mother nest. 10 minutes later, they had shaken off the pursuit of the Abyss species. Wang Xian heaved a sigh of relief and stopped. I'm still a little weak, he said calmly. Dragon King, why don't we make a trip back to the Dragon Palace? The next time we come here, we'll have about 10 7th Order Immortal God King Realm experts. It shouldn't be a problem. Roving Heavens suggested from the side. Going to the Dragon Palace will take a month to make a round trip. Wang Xian shook his head and said, let's go to the vicinity of the Demon Island. He thought for a moment and made up his mind. The Demon Island. Although it was called the Demon Island, it was actually a galaxy, belonging to one of the 3 major island galaxies in the Imperial Starfield. Its surface area was tens of thousands of times that of the South Star System. The Demon Island was already in the central region of the Imperial Starfield. The reason why it was called the Demon Island was because it was too close to the abyss. Somewhere near the abyss on the Demon Island, an abyss entrance would suddenly appear and swallow the entire planet. If one was strong, they could escape immediately. If they were unlucky or weak, they might be swallowed by the abyssal species at the entrant. Wang Xian was prepared to make a trip there and exchange the abyss lore crystals in his hands for elixir pills. As long as he exchanged them for elixir pills, he could immediately increase the strength of the Dragon Palace members around him. After all, he could directly transfer the dragon energy to them after swallowing it. This was the fastest way to increase their strength, and it could be done in a few days. Let's go and take a look. I'll go there in the future. As Wang Xian spoke, he immediately flew towards the exit. Just as the Dragon King and the rest were about to reach the exit, on the land plate at the entrance, over 40 immortal god kings of Qianshan Sword Sect were in a manner. Ever since the anonymous message on the AI, coupled with the coincidence of the Dragon King and the rest, the Sword King of Qianshan Sword Sect had sent an elder to look for the Dragon King. They were not here to ambush the Dragon King and the rest, but to verify the answer. Elder, according to the information we received, the Dragon King and the rest have come out from the abyss and are flying towards the direction of the Demon Island. A piece of news was sent to the manor. Are they out? Figures instantly came to the hall of the manor and looked at the disciple who came to report. Yes, Elder, the Dragon King and the rest are rushing towards the Demon Island. We can't catch up with them with our speed. That member reported. Let's go there immediately. The elder in the lead immediately said. With a wave of his arm, a reddish-gold giant sword appeared in front of him. Sky United Sword, let's chase after them immediately. The group immediately boarded the reddish-gold Sky United Sword and chased after the Dragon King and the rest. Fly to a more bustling land plate of the trading market. The shortest one will take a day. We should be able to exchange the Abyss Seed Lore crystals for elixir pills there. Wang Xian looked at the map on the AI and flew quickly. He was very fast, shuttling through the starry sky. In the void, Wang Xian could occasionally see the entrance to the abyss. He even encountered an abyssal species in the void, and he killed it directly. We're here, it's right in front. A day later, Wang Xian saw a huge land plate. This land plate was comparable to the Tianzi continent. However, below the land plate, it looked extremely smooth. Abyss continent. Wang Xian murmured. According to the records on the AI, this continent used to be a planet. However, half of it was devoured by the abyss and attacked by the abyss seed, turning it into a continent today. This was a more prosperous continent at the border of the Demon Island, and about 1,000 kilometers away from this land plate was a huge entrance to the abyss. Chapter 2581. Anyone who wants to form a team and enter the abyss together. I'm looking for a teammate who specializes in defense, preferably with the earth attribute. Anyone who wants to enter the abyss together. We'll look out for each other and distribute according to our contributions. I heard the Sky Edge Sect's deacon killed a rank 6 immortal king abyss species. TSK, that's impressive. Once they entered the abyss continent, all sorts of boisterous voices could be heard. Wang Xian's eyes shone brightly as he looked around. The atmosphere was completely different from the South Star Galaxy. The people here treated the abyss as a training ground to fight monsters. Some even formed teams to enter. Sky Edge Sect. Wang Xian noticed a name and murmured. Sect was the name given to first-rate forces. First-rate forces were not limited to celestial dynasties, sects, or sword sects. They were directly referred to as sect. The so-called sect leaders and elders of the sects were incomparable to celestial dynasties and sects in terms of strength and prestige. Emperor Star Maiden once said that the people who hunted Qingyu and Lingxiu were from the Sky Edge sect. Such sects have rank 9 Immortal King Realm or even Pinnacle Immortal King experts. The current Dragon Palace can't afford to offend them, Wang Xian murmured as his eyes shone. He found someone to ask about the largest shop in the Abyss continent before flying towards the center. Killing was prohibited in the Abyss continent. The entire continent was controlled by Beichuan sect, and they were in charge of security. Beichuan sect was a first-rate force with rank 8 Immortal King experts in charge. Soon, Wang Xian flew to a city in the center of the continent. He looked around and his eyes landed on Beichuan Square. Beichuan Square was a shop opened by Beichuan sect that sold elixir pills, weapons, and even abyss lore crystals. The entire shop was huge. Sir, what are you looking for? A female attendant walked over and asked Wang Xian. I want to sell abyss lore crystals, rank 7 Immortal King Realm abyss lore crystals. Wang Xian said to the attendant. Rank 7 Immortal King Realm Abyss Lore Crystals. The waiter's face revealed a shocked expression as he quickly nodded his head. Sir, please follow me to a private room at the back. I'll get the person in charge, the attendant said. Wang Xian nodded and led Roving Heavens and the rest in. The attendant poured tea respectfully and walked towards the back. Sir, are you selling rank 7 Immortal King Realm Abyss Lore Crystals? Soon, a woman followed the waiter in. The girl had short hair and her snow-white clothes were covered with layers of ice. She looked valiant and formidable. She looked at Wang Xian and asked. Wang Xian looked at the lady and raised his eyebrows. A tinge of surprise flashed in his eyes. What a powerful special constitution. I have a lot of abyss-type crystals with me. I'll exchange them all for elixirs. Do you have enough elixirs here? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow and asked. Oh. May I ask how many you have? Can you tell me? Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, the lady asked 5 Undying God King level crystals, 700 to 800 Undying God King level crystals. Wang Xian said directly. So many. A look of surprise appeared on the woman's face. She pondered for a moment and said, We don't have that many pills here, but Senior can wait for a few hours. We'll transfer them from another planet. Price? Wang Xian asked. Senior, the price of the Abyss Crystal is very clear, and it's also very easy to sell. The price will be the God Stones of the Abyss Crystal's value, and it will be converted into medicinal pills. How about that? The lady said. Sure. Give me all the elixirs you have here first. It's fine as long as they are medicinal pills, regardless of their effect. Wang Xian nodded his head and took out 2 level 7 Undying God King level crystals. Bring me elixirs of equivalent value. Also, inform the shopkeeper to contact the sect and get them to transfer more elixirs over. The lady instructed the attendant at the side. Yes, Missy. The attendant nodded her head. Senior, it's not easy for you to get so many abyss-type crystals. If you have any abyss-type crystals in the future, we'll give you a discount. The lady sat at the side and said to Wang Xian. Sure. Wang Xian nodded his head, looked at the lady at the side, and raised an eyebrow. Senior, what are you doing? Seeing Wang Xian sizing her up, the lady frowned slightly and asked. I don't understand. Your constitution is so strong, but why are you only at the pinnacle of the eternal God Lord? You shouldn't be young anymore. Wang Xian couldn't help but ask. This lady had the strongest constitution he had seen since coming to the resplendent Great Thousand World. Even invincible battle techniques paled in comparison. The lady's constitution was the ice source body, a mutation of the water attribute. Such a constitution was much stronger than the ice source body. The divine dragon race once had a mutated constitution that was very compatible with her. Hence, the name Frost Divine Dragon. The Frost Divine Dragon was a powerful divine dragon that could rival the skeletal dragon. From what he could sense, the lady before him was already tens of thousands of years old. To be at the pinnacle of the eternal God Lord realm at such a young age, this was considered not bad in this starry sky. But to Wang Xian, this shouldn't be the case. She should be at level 8 or 9 Undying God King. Senior, you noticed it too? The lady was moved. She stretched out her hand, and the illusory law of ice was changing in her hand. But soon, she shook her head bitterly and said, There's no way to cultivate. There was no way to cultivate. Because of her constitution, she was once the most outstanding supreme talent in this starry sky. Even the disciples of the major sects were suppressed by her. Even the disciples of the imperial court in the core region had to concede defeat. Her talent even attracted the attention of the experts in the imperial court. But in the end, an expert said that there was no way to cultivate after the eternal God realm. Saying that there was no way to cultivate had almost severed her path of cultivation. Back then, she was very unwilling. But when her strength reached the pinnacle of the eternal God Lord realm, she finally understood these words. If the eternal God Lord wanted to break through to the undying God King realm, he needed to solidify the law. She couldn't do this. Cultivation required a cultivation method and direction. Every faction had the cultivation methods of the other 9 attributes. She just needed to follow the path of the predecessors. But she had no path. She had been stuck in this realm for more than 20,000 years. No matter how deep her understanding of the ice attribute was, she couldn't take that step. There's no way to cultivate. Wang Xian looked at her, shaking her head bitterly, and raised his brows. Each attribute had its own path. Many paths had been taken by the predecessors, so it was easy for the future generations to follow. A mutated constitution like the ice attribute couldn't cultivate the other attributes. This was the only path they could take. Chapter 2582. The room of Beichuan House quietened down as Wang Xian and the rest sat there quietly. At the side, the lady sat there in a daze. Her eyes were lifeless as she moved her palms slightly. On her palms, the law of frost was dancing on them. Wang Xian looked at her control and was slightly amazed. Given her current strong control, it was definitely not something that could be cultivated overnight. Her foundation was already deep enough, but she couldn't cross this threshold. Time passed slowly. Miss, the elixir pills are here. After more than 2 hours, a waitress walked in and whispered to the lady. Oh, all right. The lady snapped back to her senses and immediately took over the space rings. Sorry. She asked Wang Xian, how many Law of Abyss species crystals do you have? All of them. As Wang Xian spoke, he took out all the Law of Abyss species. I didn't expect seniors to have hunted so many Abyss species. This time, Beichuan House is willing to exchange with you at a 5% discount. As the woman spoke, she made an inventory and immediately handed over the interspatial rings one by one. Wang Xian took them and checked them one by one. With a satisfied look on his face. Great. It's a pleasure working with you. I'll come again next time. Wang Xian revealed a smile and stood up immediately. Seniors, let me send you off. The lady stood up immediately and said to Wang Xian with a smile, It's fine. Wang Xian shook his head. However, the lady still sent them out. I hope we can work together again next time. When she sent them to the door, the short-haired lady smiled at them again. Wang Xian looked at her with a tinge of hesitation on his face. Following which, he smiled. He extended his palm slowly and condensed the water energy into frost. However, the strength of the frost he condensed was not something that the lady's origin source frost could compare to. The short-haired lady was taken aback and looked at Wang Xian in astonishment. Even a small snowflake can cause an avalanche. In an avalanche, no snowflake is innocent. Bam! Wang Xian spoke to the short-haired lady slowly. As soon as he finished his sentence, the snowflake in his hand exploded and a void crack appeared in front of his palm. Within the void crack, a solid ice flower was suspended. Comprehend it yourself. With a wave of his palm, the ice flower flew towards the short-haired girl and landed on her cloth. At the sight of this, the short-haired woman's eyes suddenly shone with hope. Her body trembled slightly. Senior. She held the ice flower in her trembling hands and shouted at Wang Xian's silhouette. Wang Xian ignored him and continued flying forward. Senior, I want to acknowledge you as my master. Seeing Wang Xian's flying speed, the short-haired girl's expression changed drastically. She hurriedly flew into the void, knelt down and shouted. However, her speed was still too slow. The figure in front of her had already disappeared. Isn't that the heavenly daughter of the Beichuan sect, the one who suppressed the children of the great sects? What's wrong with her? Become my disciple? Some of the surrounding people looked over, and their faces were filled with astonishment. Even some of Beichuan Fang's employees looked at this young lady in astonishment. Senior. He knows the cultivation method of the frost path. Looking at Wang Xian's disappearing figure, the short-haired girl knelt down and was filled with excitement. That door had been pried open by Senior. The path to becoming a divine king was completely open for her, and she could improve rapidly, until she encountered another door. Thank you, Senior, for your guidance. I'll be your master for life. She kowtowed heavily to the spot where Wang Xian's shadow disappeared. Sensing the short-haired girl behind him, a smile appeared on his face. If she could join the Dragon Palace, it might be possible for the Dragon Palace to have another Frost Divine Dragon. Wang Xian touched his chin and murmured. However, to be honest, An additional frost divine dragon would mean nothing to the Dragon Palace. He had no interest in accepting disciples. His only disciple, Xiao Ran, was still in the boundless starfield. He should have the strength of a level 1 or 2 eternal divine lord. Speaking of which, a person in his 30s who had the strength of a level 1 or 2 eternal divine lord would be considered a heaven-defying existence. However, it was still too slow for Wang Xian, or he could spend a large amount of resources to groom him. However, that would be meaningless to him as he would not have his own path if he followed behind him. Therefore, Wang Xian did not want to accept disciples, even if the short-haired girl's physique was very strong. With these elixir pills, I can increase the strength of 5 to 6 berserk dragons and spike dragons to level 7 immortal god king, Wang Xian murmured as a smile appeared on his face. With another 5 to 6 Dragon Palace members, the Dragon Palace would have about 10 level 7 immortal god kings. He could go into the abyss to hunt more abyss demons. That would increase the number of Dragon Palace members by a few more. At that time, the doomsday of the 9 heavenly sects and the 5 major forces would come, he thought to himself as he flew quickly towards the entrance of the abyss. When Wang Xian returned, the group of experts from Tianshan Sword Sect stood at the entrance of the abyss with ugly expressions. A day ago, they were ready to chase after the Dragon King, but he was nowhere to be seen. Facing an immortal god king at full speed, they could not catch up at all. Moreover, they did not know where the Dragon King went. Therefore, they could only wait here helplessly. However, they did not know how long they would have to wait here. However, their Lord Sword King had already given the order, so they could only wait here. Elder, the Dragon King and his group are here. After more than 10 hours, a disciple from Tianshan Sword Sect suddenly roared with radiance in his eyes. They're here. The rest of the group looked over with smiles on their faces. Let's go and act according to the plan, the elder from Tianshan Sword Sect said as he immediately went towards Wang Xian's group. When Wang Xian was about to reach the entrance of the abyss, he suddenly saw a group of people coming towards them. Looking at their clothes and sharp swords in their hands, he twitched his eyebrows. Dragon King, please stop. The group of experts from Tianshan Sword Sect stopped about 100 kilometers away from Wang Xian and his group and shouted at Wang Xian. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard the elder from Tianshan Sword Sect. Dragon King, we don't know what gave you the courage to kill our people from Tianshan Sword Sect. But now, you better give us a perfect explanation. Otherwise, it won't be long before the annihilation of your Dragon Palace. The elder from Tianshan Sword Sect stared coldly at Wang Xian and bellowed in a low voice. Wang Xian frowned slightly when he heard his word. Found out? How did they find out? Just as Wang Xian was frowning, all the people from Tianshan Sword Sect stared at him. Tianshan Sword Sect could not be sure. They were just testing it out. If the Dragon King tried to explain himself, it would not be the Dragon King's fault. But looking at the Dragon King's expression, they had an answer in their heart. Chapter 2583, Great, Dragon King. You are indeed the one who killed the experts of Tianshan Sword Sect. Great. Seeing Wang Xian's reaction, the elder of Tianshan Sword Sect squinted his eyes and revealed violent murderous intent. They weren't so sure before, but they were now more or less certain. What they didn't expect was that the Dragon Palace still dared to kill the disciples of Tianshan Sword Sect after offending the 5 major forces. Dragon King, get ready for the endless revenge of our Tianshan Sword Sect and the annihilation of the Dragon Palace. One of the experts from Tianshan Sword Sect roared with a hideous look. His grandfather was among the group that entered the abyss. Now that he knew he was killed by the Dragon King, he was filled with endless murderous intent. Only fresh blood could pay for his grandfather's life. Is everyone from Tianshan Sword Sect courting death? Wang Xian's eyes turned cold when he saw them staring at him with murderous intent. Wang. The next moment, he didn't hesitate. The 5 elements grindstone appeared in the void. Shit. Run. Go back to the sect and annihilate the Dragon Palace. The elder of Tianshan Sword Sect roared when he saw Wang Xian making a move. Trying to escape. Too late. Wang Xian said coldly. The space-locking array on the 5 elements grindstone was activated and beams of light shone on them. Shit. Everyone's faces were filled with horror. They quickly turned around and tried to escape into the distance. Boom. The next moment, a wave of horrifying energy engulfed them. Damn it. The Dragon King wants to kill all of us here. How dare you? Tianshan's sword sect won't let you off. The elder of Tianshan's sword sect roared with bloodshot eyes. Hee, why not? Since you guys are courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Wang Xian's face was filled with mockery. In the abyss, the people from Tianshan's sword sect were already courting death. Now, they were courting death. Did they really think they wouldn't dare to kill them? Boom. Boom. No. The horrifying five elements laws pressed down on them. The experts from Tianshan's sword sect were filled with despair and pain. As the attack of annihilation landed, the voices stopped abruptly. The elder of Tianshan's sword sect stared at Wang Xian with horror and indignation. They did not expect that they would not even have the chance to escape back to their own kingdom in front of the Dragon King. This was completely out of their expectations. If they knew, they would immediately flee after confirming it. When Wang Xian saw their corpses, he snorted and flew towards the entrance of the abyss. Go in. His figure moved and he immediately entered the abyss. He continued to fly towards the nest of the giant peak abyssal species at a terrifying speed. I don't care if it's a grade 9 heavenly sect or Tianshan sword sect. Anyone who dares to provoke the Dragon Palace will pay the price. He murmured, his eyes flashing with killing intent. Just as Wang Xian was making his way through the abyss, the two disciples of Tianshan's sword sect who were on the land at the entrance of the abyss looked anxious. When Wang Xian killed the people from Tianshan's sword sect, there was no one around. Therefore, no one noticed the battle that lasted for dozens of seconds. However, some of them did not see Wang Xian killing the people from Tianshan's sword sect. However, they saw the people from Tianshan's sword sect flying towards the left. Soon, the Dragon Palace flew over from the left. The sudden loss of contact with the Heavenly Sword Mountain sect caused the two disciples to be extremely shocked. Let's go to the entrance of the abyss. The two of them looked at each other and immediately flew towards the entrance of the abyss. No, the elders said they are waiting nearby. We can't contact them now. They aren't here either. Could they have entered the abyss? A disciple said with a bewildered expression. Impossible. The elders will never enter the abyss. They can't escape back to the heavenly kingdom after entering the abyss. Inform the experts of the sect immediately. The other disciple shook his head with certainty and said to the other disciple in a deep voice, Disciples of Tianshan's sword sect, we saw a situation not far away. At this time, two middle-aged men flew over with glittering eyes and threw something to them. You are. The two disciples of Tianshan's sword sect waved their arms and a ball appeared in front of them. They looked at the two middle-aged men in shock. We are an alliance of 5 major forces from the grade 9 heavenly sect. We have been tracking the traces of the Dragon King. We recorded the scene just now. It should be related to your Tianshan sword sect. One of the middle-aged men said with a smile. Huh. A disciple of Tianshan's sword sect turned on his computer. They took the ball and placed it on it. Wang. An image appeared. Due to the distance, it wasn't very clear. However, they could see the group of Tianshan's sword sect flying to the left not long ago. 1 minute later, the Dragon King and the group entered the abyss. When they saw the video, their pupils shrank slightly. Damn it. Let's make a copy of this video. A disciple of Tianshan's sword sect said with an ugly expression after seeing the scene in the video. Of course. The two middle-aged men nodded immediately. They didn't expect to receive such a pleasant surprise. They also didn't expect the Dragon King to be so daring to kill the people of Tianshan's sword sect at this moment. Let's go back now. Soon, the two disciples of Tianshan's sword sect flew toward the center of the South Star system. The two middle-aged men looked at each other and reported the situation here immediately. Boom. Boom. 1 day later, figures filled with murderous aura flew over. The leading elder stood on a blood-red sharp sword and didn't conceal the murderous aura on his face at all. Behind them, there were more than 20 experts standing on swords. Each of them was filled with cold aura. Grandmaster Fa Xian, Please use the array formation to look for some clues. The Sword King on the blood-red sharp sword roared at the long-haired, white-bearded elder. Yes, Master Sword King. The long-haired, white-bearded elder nodded and started to set up array formations. Soon, blurry figures appeared one after another. They were the elders of Tianshan Sword Sect. They followed the traces and flew to the left for about 1,000 kilometers. Bam! After flying for 1,000 kilometers, the array formation broke, and the long-haired, white-bearded elder's expression changed drastically. I can't sense it anymore. If the culprit doesn't have a powerful array formation interference device, he must be a powerful array formation master himself. The long-haired, white-bearded elder's expression changed slightly as he said solemnly, "It's definitely the Dragon King. In the South Star system, only the Dragon Palace has an array formation master stronger than Grandmaster Fa Xian. It's definitely the Dragon King's doing." An elder roared with a cold expression. "Dragon King." The Sword King who stood on the blood-red sword spat out 2 words coldly, and the blood-red sword beneath him began to glow with blood-red light. Chapter 2584. Damn it, what the hell is Dragon Palace doing? Not long ago, they offended the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect, and now they've offended the Tianshan Sword Sect. The Dragon Palace is courting death. Do they think they can withstand the attack of the Tianshan Sword Sect just because they blocked the attack of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect? They've offended half of the forces in the South Star Galaxy. I swear, I'll never come to Dragon Planet again. This is too much of a scam. This is simply heart-wrenching. In Longxing's location, when everyone received the news, their faces instantly darkened. Since the Tianshan Sword Sect announced that they were determined to destroy the Dragon Palace, their main target was the Dragon Star. Dragon Star had withstood the attacks of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect and was known as the commercial planet with the strongest defense. But now, it had offended the Tianshan Sword faction. Needless to say, the Tianshan Sword Sect and the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect would definitely join hands. They did not think that the Dragon Palace could withstand the siege of 2 top forces just because it could withstand one. This made some of the people who bought houses on Dragon Planet and cultivated in the training grounds extremely embarrassed. Just like the last time, they immediately requested for their god stones to be returned and immediately left Dragon Planet. Some of them even swore that they would never come to Dragon Planet ever again. The Dragon Star Dragon Palace was too good at courting death. All heavenly demons from the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom enter the Dragon Star. Very quickly, the king of the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom passed down the order. One by one, the heavenly demons of the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom flew towards Dragon Star. There were also some prodigies who flew to the surrounding 9 planet. When the outside world received this news, there was another uproar. It seems like the Dragon Palace's Tiger Luan Demon Empire is really scared. They even gave up some planets. They're all gathered on Dragon Star. Do they think they can fight against the Tianshan Sword Sect and the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect by relying on Dragon Star? On the AI, the South Star system was in an uproar. Everyone was discussing the actions of the Dragon Palace and Tiger Luan Demon Country. They could see that the Dragon Palace and the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom were completely terrified this time. Last time, when the Rank 9 Heavenly Sect invaded, the Dragon Palace, Tiger Luan Demon Kingdom came to welcome them. They even sent disciples to destroy the Rank 9 Heavenly Sect's business planet. However, this time, the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom even abandoned the planet and entered the Dragon Planet. This meant that the Dragon Palace and the Tiger Luan Demon Kingdom were also afraid. After all, this time, the Tianshan Sword Sect had joined in as well. Su. Just as the entire South Star Galaxy was in an uproar, an incomparably huge sword whistled through the air above a planet in the territory of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect. It was a gigantic sword that was hundreds of thousands of meters long. The entire gigantic sword emitted an incomparably resplendent radiance. This sword was called the Star-Piercing Sword. Just like its name, this sword could easily pierce through an entire star. This sword was the only sword sect in Heavenly Mountain Sword Sect. It had paid a huge price to forge this divine sword. Everyone from Sky Mountain Sword Sect, come in. As the star-piercing sword floated above the planet, a voice rang out. On the star-piercing sword, there were over 200 undying god kings, each emitting a sharp aura. Su su su. One by one, the figures moved and instantly flew towards the palace below. In a huge hall below, there were already over 1,000 people standing inside. With a glance, all of them were undying God King level. Welcome, everyone from the Tianshan Sword Sect. With the help of the Tianshan Sword Sect, it will be a piece of cake for us to destroy the Dragon Palace. The sect leader of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect looked at the Sword King and the others and said with a smile, "What's the plan?" The Sword King walked forward and sat down on a seat in the middle as he said coldly, "Our two factions, together with the other 4 factions, sending out 2,000 undying God Kings will be a piece of cake. With my method, we will gather our strength and send out all our peak expert. Our Grade 9 Heavenly Sect will send 4 7th Order Immortal God Kings, and your Tianshan Sword Sect will send all your 7th Order Immortal God Kings to kill our way into the Dragon Star. Destroy the array and the planet, leave no one alive." The sect leader of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect said coldly, "That's right, with our strength, I don't believe that there's any array that can stop us. Kill, destroy the Dragon Star, destroy their nest, and kill all of them." The Immortal God Kings by the side roared with killing intent. Too simple. The Sword King's eyes flashed as he heard the sect leader's suggestion. "Oh." The sect leader of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect raised his brows. "Killing 2 elders of my Tianshan Sword Sect and close to 100 Immortal God Kings, it's too easy to wipe them out. I will destroy them bit by bit, and let them die in fear." The Sword King's eyes flashed with a dense bloody aura as he spoke in an awe-inspiring tone. When some experts heard the Sword King's words, their hearts trembled. Blood Red Sword King was the title given to the Sword King standing before Heavenly Mountain Sword faction. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, a force offended the Tianshan Sword Sect. The blood-colored Sword Monarch single-handedly destroyed more than a dozen planets, all of which were human planet. Not a single one of the billions of living beings up there survived. After that, he heavily injured a 7th Order Immortal God King realm expert with a single sword strike. His strength was monstrous, and he was definitely one of the strongest among the 7th Order Immortal God King realm expert. With that one battle, the Sword King of Sky Mountain Sword Sect became the blood-colored King of Sword, and no one dared to provoke him. More than 100,000 years had passed, but the Blood-Red Sword King was still as bloodthirsty and tyrannical as ever. "Ha ha ha, Lord Sword King is right. Destroy them bit by bit and let them perish in fear. If we simply destroy them, then they will be too happy. We will destroy them bit by bit, ha ha ha." When the sect master of 3 Seas sect heard the Sword King's words, he let out a ferocious expression and roared loudly. "What is the Sword King going to do?" The sect master of the 9th Grade Heavenly Sect raised his brows and asked, "Aren't most of the members of the Dragon Palace and the Chaotic Tiger Demonic Kingdom gathered on Dragon Planet? First, we will destroy all of their planets, then all of their businesses and branches in other places. Leave no one alive." The Sword King grinned, and his voice was filled with killing intent. "Ha ha ha, good, good. I have all the information on the Dragon Palace in my hands. Many of their territories are in the ocean, located in a remote place in the South Star system. Destroy them all. Destroy them all." The sect master of 3 Seas sect roared ferociously. "Our Monster Slayer sect also knows all of the territories and planets of the Chaotic Tiger Demonic Kingdom." The people from the Monster Slayer sect also revealed bloodthirsty expressions. At this moment, they were incomparably excited. Their Monster Slayer sect was attacked by the Chaotic Tiger Demonic Kingdom, and now they were like stray dog. Moreover, they now knew that when the Chaotic Tiger Demonic Kingdom attacked them, the strange array formation was provided by the Dragon Palace. This time, not only would the Dragon Palace pay the price of destruction, but the Chaotic Tiger Demonic Kingdom would also pay the same price. Good. The Sword King's eyes flashed with crazed killing intent, and he roared coldly.